the goal is to not have to be at our mercy to close down every one of your jobs, because you're leaving money on the table by not learning it and not having your reps do it, right?
1,000%. I mean, I don't know if you follow a lot of like social media, things like that, but I do. We can keep trying with these sales guys. Eventually, they're just not gonna wanna do it. But if you're not a roofing company offering solar, you're behind the ball, because 90% of these roofing companies now are gonna be able to offer solar. It just makes sense for them, right?
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to the SVG Storm Solar Synergy Podcast. Today, we have one of SVG's finest, Lazaro Soto, in the house, here to help us out with the podcast. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, sir. Again, my name's Lazaro. Most of you guys know me probably as the Lion. I help a lot of the roofing contractors kind of get onboarded. And then we get them over to our solar team, who makes all the magic happen. So I'm happy to be here, kind of happy to talk with Bruce about what's going on. Yeah,
so again, we're glad to have you. Tell us a little bit about what you do at SVG. How long you been here for? What's your goal? What's your plan?
So, I mean, I've been at SVG probably going on, this is year 3 for me. It's been a lot of crazy up and downs. I kind of started at the bottom. Was just kind of demo setting and things like that. Trying to get, most of these guys, they fill out an online form about being interested and wanting to try to scale their guys up and make them better salesmen. So from there, I kind of took on more of a leadership role. And now I'm the director of sales for SVG on the university side. And I basically work with, I want to say about 50 to 100 contractors, and I help them train their sales guys, set up curriculums to train their sales guys how to go out there and produce them $1 million worth of roofing sales every year. That's the goal. That's the end goal, at least $1 million or more, right? So,
yeah, you were here when I first got hired here almost 2 years ago, and I remember Lazaro was, someone that trained me, because although I come from the roofing side of about 6 years in the industry of solar. I don't know much about, obviously, some of the roofing side. So you were
Sure.
a big liaison for me and helped me along the way. So Lazaro is for sure one of those guys that when he says he's going to do something for you, he's going to do it. And that's, I think, the biggest thing, not only for a roofing contractor, but just in life in general. It's you have a lot of people that try to sell you this dream, and then you never hear from him again.
Yeah.
But Lazaro actually does a really good job taking care of his contractors and making sure that you get them everything that they need. So we're glad to have you on. So so we know that you are dealing with quite a few of our dealers too, more so on the roofing side of it, not so much solar. But what are some of the things that you hear, some of the things that, some feedback, whether it's from your specific dealers or just in general?
Well, I mean, a lot of the reasons why a lot of these roofing contractors are kind of jumping into the solar game is because, I don't know, this year was kind of crazy when it came to like hail and, catastrophic events. There was no real, DFW barely got hit by a storm last week, right? But before that, they would typically get hit by a storm every other week, it felt like,
Right.
So a lot of these guys were kind of living off of some of these older storm dates. And there's a lot of states where they don't have these older storm dates. So instead of having to worry about getting a new storm date, so to say, a lot of their struggle is like, how are we going out there and approaching these homeowners to try to extract more money? That's their whole job, to bring in revenue to their company. So right now, solar is kind of taking that kind of by far, because some of these guys got older roofs that are not really up to, to kind of get renewed or whatnot. So they would kind of go into the solar side of things to be able to now approach that homeowner and possibly put a new roof on their thing and it not come out of their pocket, which makes 1,000% sense for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. And I think that's what really drew a lot of contractors' attention at first, was the ability to finance your homeowners' roofs, $0 out of pocket at a 1.49% interest rate, and then that can become tax deductible, where the other option for that homeowner may not be. So it's kind of a no-brainer for a roofing contractor to be offering this, because we all know how the market is shifting on the solar side of things. And as a contractor, if you're not offering a service like that, well, you could be kind of left in the dust, because a lot of contractors are starting to add this to their arsenal. What I would say is it's been great working with every one of these contractors. And I will say there's been quite a struggle for some of them.
It's kind of hard to teach a old dog new tricks, so to say, right? I mean, these guys are stuck in selling roofs. They know how to do that very, 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 very well, right? But that's where the SVG training platform, that's where Bruce, that's where Fahad, and that's where the whole solar team kind of gets involved, because they're able to try to at least take them to get them to learn how to sell solar. And that's from what I've talking to dealers, that's probably the biggest struggle, is to teaching their sales guys how to go out there and learn how to sell this stuff, because they don't want to sit down and actually do it. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I think that's been the biggest issue, is we've got a lot of contractors that, are really excited to add this to their company, because now essentially they're owning a roofing and solar company, right? Which is
1,000%.
awesome. And they see the money in it. We know all how much money's in the solar industry. But the biggest thing has been, they don't have the time, or their sales reps aren't really on board.
Yep.
Maybe they don't believe in it, or whatever the case may be. That's been the biggest struggle. And we do have the training university. Most of them go through it. The other half don't go through it.
1,000%.
But then they expect, for us to kind of facilitate that work for them, which is fine, because we do have a new dealer program, which is a 30, 40, or 50 split on commission, which we will obviously help facilitate some of it or all of the legwork, depending on how busy one of you guys may be. But the goal is to not have to be at our mercy to close down every one of your jobs, because you're leaving money on the table by not learning it and not having your reps do it, right?
1,000%. I mean, I don't know if you follow a lot of like social media, things like that, but I do. So Brian McSteen, actually, McAllen Roofing or something like that, McValley Roofing, he actually said it best the other day, right? Like, we can keep trying with these sales guys. Eventually, they're just not going to want to do it. But if you're not a roofing company offering solar, you're behind the ball, because 90% of these roofing companies now are going to be able to offer solar. It just makes sense for them, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, there's no better person to
do
talk
it,
about it
right?
than that's tearing off their roof and putting a new one on.
Yeah, if not, there's going to be somebody that's going to come right behind you and be like, "Hey, buddy, now that you have a new roof, let's put solar on."
And homeowners want to deal with someone that they trust, right? So someone's
1,000%.
They trust that roofing contractor. Maybe they've already done the roof in the past. Maybe they're doing it moving forward, and they have trust there. And there's a big thing with solar that people have this misconception on solar. So trust is a big part of that homeowner deciding to make that switch. So they're already doing work with that contractor, so that's a one-stop shop to be able to get everything that they need done.
Makes sense, right? And for me, being the fact that I'm the one that starts with the dealer originally, right?
Yep.
You guys help them on the back end side. Me as an SVG sales rep, I help them get signed up, build the dream. They already want to do it. I'm just help facilitating it, getting it to you guys. But a lot of the times, because I hold my guys accountable so much, I go back and I talk to them, 3-6 months later. I'm like, "Hey, how's the solar thing going?" Most of them are like, "It's not."
Yep.
I'm like, "Well, what's going on?" Right?
Yep.
And they start talking to me how their guys aren't wanting to learn it. I'm like, "Okay, so here's what we can do." And that's what the new dealer program, that's what makes it so effective, because a lot of the guys, they would rather send you guys their leads. I mean, I tell them all the time, send me your CRM. My guys will call your CRM. They will literally get the homeowner to sit on a Zoom, and then they'll do all of the pitching of solar for you. Now, depending on the level of participation you want to have in it, I mean, you guys can make 30, 40, 50%, but 30, 40, 50% is better than 0% of nothing that you're doing right now, right?
Yeah, and eventually, when there's time or more bandwidth or more sales reps, at some point you have the training. We're already here doing work for you. You'll pick it up.
Exactly.
And that's fine, because we do have a lot of contractors and dealers that actually don't ever want to learn it, but they don't want to lose out on the money.
1,000%.
So that's why we offered something like that, to be able to facilitate that. And that's kind of a newer program that we didn't have when we first started this and launched this. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of the dealers that we had when we first launched it were not able to go through it, and some of them never had the opportunity. So there's a good handful that were in that category that never had that, and we were able to reach back out to them, and now they had maybe built 10 proposals and they didn't know how to close them, or they have just a pipeline of old customers that we can reach out to. So it's starting to move a lot smoother that way. So we're happy about that new program. Maybe you'll be selling solar with us one day soon.
Maybe, you never know,
I've been trying to get Lazaro to sell solar with us, but Anthony Delmedico probably won't allow it.
Yeah, well, I'm very comfortable where I'm at. I mean, I obviously like dealing with, the contractor himself. Don't get me wrong, solar is very, very profitable, and you never know what the future holds for me. But as of right now, my job is just to make sure that these guys are getting their guys trained up. And I like the flying around part. I like the, dealing like it's a very fun company to be a part of.
Yeah,
sure.
It's a great company, and I'm being a little facetious by saying that I'd love you to have. I would love to have you, but
Bruce been wanting to have me since day one. That's for sure.
Well, yeah, you're it's all about hard work and dedication, and as long as someone has that, we can train you and do with the rest. So, all right. So we know we've got a boot camp coming up September 16th and 17th. This is going to be probably the most advanced boot camp as far as actual sales training, whether it's door knocking. We're going to be taking you guys out door knocking for sales reps and doing actual live closes at the home, and also a live Zoom close, the full front end process, the back end process, and everything that really is entailed that a sales rep needs to know. And most of our boot camps in the past have been more on the owner side of it.
So are you guys still inviting owners out here, or are you guys mainly wanting to sales reps?
An owner can definitely come too.
Okay, just wanted to make sure of that.
It's just going to be a little bit different because our boot camps in the past have been more based on
sponsors, right?
Well, the boot camp in itself has been more based off of, making sure that these owners are sold and that they're all in on this solar industry. So that boot camp, although there was a lot of great information, was more on how does this work? How do the payouts work? How does the structuring work? How does the financing work for their company? Mm-hmm. Now, we know that some of their sales reps need that love too.
Yeah.
So now the owners don't need to probably know exactly the sales process that the sales reps do. So we're having a separate boot camp for the sales reps, but the owners are more than welcome to.
Perfect, yeah. Well, a lot of the owners are sales reps as well. So.
And there's not going to be any sponsors. We usually have people kind of knocking on our door, hoping to get any type of sponsorship that they can get their name on a card or on the wall somewhere.
Yeah.
And, it's hard to say no to those guys when they're partners with us for years, but this one is just going to be solely based to help you sales reps really get what you guys need to do at the doors, on Zoom, building the proposals out, what to expect.
And I think I'm excited myself because obviously Bruce wants me to sell for him. I could use the training myself on this solar stuff. So I think I'm going to be sitting through this 2-day boot camp myself.
Yeah,
and
we have
taking as many notes as I possibly can.
We have this SVG slogan that's been around since I started, evolve or dissolve.
Evolve or dissolve, baby.
So, maybe if you don't know how to learn solar one day, you might be working somewhere else that you don't want to be.
Yep. No, I'm going to work here.
No, I
for
know.
sure.
Well, guys, that this is really it. We're glad that we were able to get you on. I'm glad that we were able to bring Lazaro on.
Thank you for having me.
I've been wanting to get you on here since we started this, so everyone can see a little bit about who you are. Introduce yourself to everybody. I'm sure that people will probably talk to you on the phone, but seeing a face to the name is always good. Stay tuned for next week. We'll be back, and we are excited for our solar boot camp again next weekend, September 16th and 17th. And hopefully we see you guys out here. If not, we'll see you next week on the podcast.
Yes, sir.
Booyah, baby.